Hey dudes, and welcome back to The Bants. As always, I am your host, The Bants, and it's time for our third and final What's Happening in Fashion for the week, so let's just get right into it. And starting us off, we have our headlines for the day. And for our first headline, and this is honestly a little bit more of an interesting one, well-known denim giant Diesel decided to come out with their own bootleg line. And basically what that means is they took their design and they flipped a couple of letters so that it actually spells diesel incorrectly and decided to make a small pop-up, one in New York, one in London, and then throw the rest of it online for people to sell, or buy, rather. And in all honesty, it did fantastically. Both the pop-ups did well. The first run online sold out instantly. The restock sold out instantly. And honestly, when it comes down to it, I think whether you look at it from a fashion perspective, an art perspective, or mostly a marketing perspective, I think they absolutely killed it here. And that praise coming from me might throw a couple of you for a loop, seeing as how much I've trashed certain people in the past for doing similar things, such as copying designs, or blatantly stealing designs, or anything along that line. But this is different because this is a company making fun of itself and its own fake fashion culture. And in all honesty, I don't think there was a better way this could have been done. It performed flawlessly, and all I can hope is that nobody tries to follow suit, but God knows somebody will. And then, in our second headline for the day, and unfortunately I have to talk about this, but the new lookbooks dropped for Supreme, so let's just get this over with. Of course, first and foremost, it's always kind of fun to look at the accessories, as they call them, just to see what crazy and stupid shit they always do. And this year they knocked it out of the park. I mean, the axe, the pinball machine, the kayak, among a slew of other just random bullshit. But even so, it's always just interesting to see what they do on that end. But then moving on to the actual wearable stuff, it's about as Supreme could be. Yes, there are positives. You do have to at least give them the benefit of the doubt that they are at least willing to try a slew of different designs, whether or not they turn out good or bad. But in normal Supreme sense, there is a handful of good pieces and about 95% shit. And I mean, that's all you can really expect from them nowadays. There have been seasons in the past that have been legitimately better. There have been seasons in the past that have been legitimately worse. But I would say the majority, and a huge majority of Supreme, is always just one or two really good tops, one or two really good pieces of outerwear, one or two decent styled hats, maybe a couple good graphics that aren't box logos, and that's about it. And that's exactly what this collection is. And in all honesty, that's all I really gotta say about it. Oh, except for the fact that the MLK pieces are absolutely tasteless. Alright, and with that, let's move on to our art stories for the day. And first up, artist Vhils just launched his newest exhibit, and honestly, it's a very interesting concept. He has different layers of transparent PVC with different layers of paint on them, and all together they make these really unique art pieces. I would definitely check out some of these photos if you're a fan of the screen printing process or just really nice art in general. Then DJI and Skypixel showed off their winners and submissions for their aerial photography contest, and honestly these photos are just stunning. If you consider yourself a fan of photography, especially overhead photography from very far away sometimes, stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to do with just a camera and your own two legs, I would definitely check this out. Very cool images. And lastly, artist Poindextr just released his newest wooden sculptures titled House Gods, and they are exactly what they said they were. They're nice, small, little fun, little cute designs made entirely out of wood, and whether or not you consider yourself a fan of art, or maybe a little bit more experimental art toys, I would definitely check these out. Really fun designs overall. Alright, and then moving on into fashion now, Wacko Maria just showed off their Spring-Summer 2018 lookbook, and honestly, they did a great job with it. You know, even though it wasn't planned, The fact that we did cover Supreme today as one of our headlines, comparing it to this, it's obvious just to see the world of difference that actually comes out of actually taking time to design stuff that isn't just stupid shit. I mean, just take a look at this collection. There's a ton of pieces. It's all really designed well. It's got everything you'd want from streetwear to slacker core. Hell, there's even really nice suiting in there as well too. When I look at this Wacko Maria lookbook, I think about stuff that people in their late 20s, early 30s, actual adult men would want to wear while still maintaining that street-esque vibe. And they just blew it out of the water. And though, yes, there are probably people out there that are complaining that Wacko Maria is too expensive, but guess what? It's still cheaper than what you're going to be paying on the resale market for a stupid fucking Supreme anyway. Then Needles showed off their first images of their Spring-Summer 2018 collection, and they are consistently good as well. Man, today is just full of coincidences, isn't it? Now, a lot of the pieces here may seem the same as many of their seasons before, and that's perfectly okay. Obviously, deconstruction is their staple, and even though the style is the same, the colors, the flannels themselves, they're always a little bit different. I do really like the use of more neon colors, tie-dye colors this time around. But even so, nothing too out of the norm for them, which in this case isn't a bad thing. Aside from that, they do have a couple more men's contemporary pieces that I really do enjoy as well, and I think the rest of their shirting this time around in the tee and polo variety absolutely killed it. Very nice designs overall. The only thing I really have a problem with in this collection is just the hats. For as interesting and nice as the materials and the coloring is, the hats themselves just seem so artificial compared to everything else they do. It's just a little bit off-putting. Maybe use a different company from now on. But everything else is good. Then Kuon showed off some of their Fall-Winter 2018 collection, and very nice pieces. Very, very nice pieces. For those of you that like to look for the most minute of details in pieces, this collection is definitely for you. Yes, there are some pieces that are a little bit more loud, a little bit more crazy, and a little bit more easy to tell that are different, but when you get to the more workwear-esque pieces that aren't patchwork here, you can definitely tell the different types of detailing they did, the different types of texture they used, the different types of cuts they did are all really fantastic. And if you do consider yourself a fan of nicer, more experimental workwear and contemporary menswear, I would definitely check this out. Then Parra showed off his newest pieces from Spring-Summer 2018, and they were pretty good. As somebody that obviously has a little bit of Parra bias, I'll try and remain as, bipartisan as I possibly can be while reviewing this collection. It's obviously not the greatest collection he's ever done, but there are some very nice pieces in here. Personally, in my own opinion, I am a much bigger fan of his bold styles than his pastel coloring, but his pastel coloring, especially if you're into that whole kind of 90s neon-esque or vaporwave vibes, this will definitely be right up your alley. A couple of the graphics aren't as great as some of them have been before, but then once again, being an artist isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do while maintaining design as well. Aside from that though, accessories are very on point, and it's still very nice to see fun and playful streetwear still in the market. So if that's your thing, definitely check this out. Then Stone Island Shadow Project showed off their Spring-Summer 2018 lookbook, and honestly, I was pretty happy with it. As somebody that has given a tremendous amount of shit to other techwear brands over forever really for using different colors, I just can't do that with Stone Island here. Maybe it's because they've just been doing it forever, or maybe it's just the fact that the colors they use are just so far and above better and different than everybody else is doing that I just can't complain and just stare more in awe at it. However, with that said, that's usually when I'm describing Stone Island by itself and not SISP. I do believe that SISP should really maintain that darker, edgier look. I mean, for God's sake, it's called Shadow Project for a reason. But enough griping about the colors. Let's look at the other parts of the pieces themselves. The technical points are all there. The designs are on point as well. How do I feel about some of the excessive camo and the all-over prints? They're alright. I don't know if I'm ready to see them again yet, but they're not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Overall, if you find yourself a fan of techwear, for any reason, definitely check this out. If you're a fan of technical design and function, definitely check this out as well. And last and definitely not least, with Tokyo Fashion Week just around the corner, we've finally gotten a clarification on some of the people that will be attending, and boy, this list is a doozy. We have Undercover, we have Sakai, we have The Soloist, and most recently announced, we have Neighborhood and everybody's cult favorite, Ambush. So with that said, I can definitely say I'm looking forward to Tokyo Fashion Week. Alright, and lastly, let's move on to our articles for the week. And first up, and although not so much of an article as it is an image set, it definitely needs to be shown off here, and that's Arbitrage's NYC's second capsule collection of Dolce & Gabbana. Basically, they went back through the years, up to about 20 years in the past, and pulled out some of their favorite menswear pieces out of Dolce & Gabbana, and holy fuck, are these just absolutely amazing. You definitely need to see these if you're a fan of experimental menswear, techwear, army wear, vintage wear, whatever. If you are into menswear in any design aspect, check out these photos. They are incredible. Then Grailed put out another informative and very fantastic piece on the style legacy of the Wu-Tang Clan. And they basically go into specific things that they wore, whether it be certain pieces or certain brands, and just their lasting impact on the industry on both sides because of it. In all honesty, if you are a fan of hip-hop history, and especially fashion history, definitely check this out. Grailed also put out another fantastic history of, but this time on Louis Vuitton. So if you have any interest in the bag maker, the monogram, or any of the other history that goes behind that, definitely give this a check out. Very insightful piece as per usual. And lastly, The Guardian put out a small but very nice article on how Azzedine Alaia changed how we look at women in fashion, and it goes into a little bit of his history, a little bit of his style preference, and just a little bit more about the designer if you don't know a lot about him. Definitely give this a read as well. Alright guys, and with that we come to the end of our third and final whiff for the week. As always, hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you want to see any more images that I haven't posted, or just want to read more into the articles, I have linked all those down in the description down below. And once again, if you guys haven't noticed, I just want to point out, I have been putting out my New York Fashion Week review this week, and expect to see at least 1, 2, or possibly 3 videos in the next coming days as well. Let me know how you guys have been liking those. And with that, I just want to thank you guys all again for all the help and all the support that you guys have given me over the last couple months. And as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to talk fashion in general, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm always willing to talk fashion. And with that, dudes, hope you have a good weekend, and as always, until next time.